Hey, welcome back to Ask Me How I Know. And today I am so blessed. So are you, because Ask Me How I Know, I was working on this podcast and I was trying to come up with a title, like a name for it, which is pretty tricky. And my husband and I are here in LA at Rod Khleif's event. And you keep saying, Rod, you're like, ask me how I know. And don't ask me how I know, because I'm not going to figure that one out. And then I went through the motions of, thanks to my husband, of sending Rod a question. Hey, Rod, I really like this expression that you use, but I feel like it's yours. Can I please borrow it? And you were like, you just melted my heart so much, because I mean, you're someone that I respect so much, but for you to just be like, man, how can I support you? And here you go for it, Julie. And so anyway, you really were a catalyst for launching this dream of mine, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful to have you here today.
Oh, thank you. Listen, it's funny, just so your listeners may not know. I've made every possible mistake you can possibly make in a lifetime. In fact, probably 3 or 4 lifetimes. And so, I'll explain something from stage and like maybe the difference between recourse and non-recourse debt, and how in recourse debt they can come after you. And then I say, ask me how I know. And it got so funny that one of my students, I forgot who it was, actually gave me a T-shirt that says pound ask me how I know. And then we were like, screw it, let's have some more made, and we'll sell them just as a gag. And so anyway, for those if I don't know if you'd explained that in a previous episode, but that's where that came from. And it's usually pain that I've suffered, but it's all good. It's all good.
But you know what? And that was one of the things that I wanted to bring up and talk with you about, because I love how you talk about seminars in life. And like, most people will look at the struggles that they face in life and they'll be like, oh man, that was the worst thing that happened. And you are so focused on your mindset. And right now, you and I both know that there are a lot of people that have these heads that are like this big, and they're going to be going through some seminars. And then there's some people that are smaller fish that are going to go through their own seminars. And I'm just wondering, like, how do we posture ourselves for those seminars? Because you have come out successful. And you've experienced them.
And yes, we are all, I could experience a seminar. Who knows? I mean, I've started 24 businesses, and several were worth a lot of money, and most were spectacular flaming seminars. But the bottom line is, if people are worried about what could go wrong, they're never going to take action. And we fail our way to success. And so, the fear is not failure. The thing to fear is being in the same freaking place you are right now a year from now, unless you absolutely love where you are right now. So, if you worry about the seminars, you'll never take action. But that they're seminars for a reason. They give you feedback so you can be better. As you know, I lost $50 million in 2008. This is deja vu-ish. I'm afraid things are going to get ugly here now again. And so, the way that I recovered from that was directing my focus to what I wanted, not what I was fearing and what was, the pain. And so many people right now are caught up in distraction. They're watching Netflix, and they're becoming Netflix experts instead of using this as an opportunity to grow and learn and become more and really maximize this as the opportunity that it is. I mean, forgetting the incredible real estate opportunities that are coming. I'm talking about just this time right now, time to reconnect with your family. I mean, I've got a world-class relationship with Tiffy, and it has gotten even better over the last 3 weeks. We've walked our poor dog to death. We have to carry him half the way, but we have so deepened our connection. It's been incredible. So, I know that we're going to walk every night for the rest of our lives. I can just tell, because we love it so much. And so there are opportunities here, and opportunities to pivot and innovate and grow and shift and build a side hustle or learn a new skill. And so, it's scary, and there are people that are suffering. And even if you're one of those people, I would direct you to focus on what it is you want. In fact, go to my Fort Rod Khleif official page and watch my goal setting workshop I did with music and everything else on January 1st of this year. And let me guide you through determining what you want and why you want it so you can focus there. Because it's so easy to focus on the pain, get sucked into CNN and Fox. But whatever you focus on is going to grow larger, both positive or negative. So make sure that you're focused on what it is you want, not what you don't want.
Boy, is that true. I heard somebody mention yesterday, and they were talking about, this is such a great opportunity to experience the life that you actually want for a lot of people. Like, just repurpose this whole concept of like, oh, geez, I was laid off, boo-hoo, poor me, let me wallow. But say, whoa, I have all this time now. I can connect with my family. I can do this. This is what I want in life. Now I'm hungry.
Or learn a skill. Something as a side hustle, whatever it is, entrepreneurship, stock market investing, real estate investing. If it's multifamily, come to my live stream. Cause that's, I was on track to have 700 people in Orlando, and you know what happened with that. So, but I've got 500 people signed up already for a live stream. Actually closer to 700 now that I think about it, signed up for a live stream on May 2nd and 3rd. And so again, capitalize on this. Don't get sucked into Netflix or whatever. Yeah.
It's not worth it.
No.
So you have taught me a lot. Fear has been something that I have wrestled with. And, we all have our Achilles heel in life. And once you can name it, you're better off. And so I know for me, fear is something that can really grab a hold of me and hold me down. And I've wrestled with that. And, since I've been following you and just growing and being part of your program, you have so much to say about fear. We cannot nutshell it here. So y'all need to just go and follow everything.
Well, no, let's talk about it for a minute. Let's talk about it for a minute.
Let's do a little bit on that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Listen, that's the only thing that holds people back, limiting beliefs and fear. Well, that's not true. Actually, some people are comfortable, and the comfort zone's a warm place, but we all know nothing grows there. But we all have fear. The only time we don't have fear is when we're gone. And so it's so important to recognize a few things about fear. And, some of the acronyms are very profound, like, the F everything and run one, or I love this new one that it's probably not new, but I've heard it for the first time, which is face everything and rise. And that is,
I like that.
Fear gets mitigated when you take action. It's counterintuitive. If you sit on your laurels, the fear magnifies. But if you take action, the fear mitigates. Fear mitigates through gratitude. So many things to be grateful for right now. I don't care who you are. You've got things to be grateful for. The fact that you're alive in the greatest country on earth is something to be grateful for. I just interviewed a guy on my podcast, immigrated when he was 14, started buying real estate in 2014, okay? He has 20,000 units, $2.5 billion portfolio. Okay, so again, I think he's 40. So my point is there is nothing you can't do in this country if you want it bad enough. I don't care if you don't have money. That's not an excuse. There's enough, you can learn enough online that to do this business. And frankly, we give scholarships. If somebody, it's $97 for my program right now to come see me online, and I'm not selling you anything. There's no sales at all. But the point is, you can educate yourself right now and find something that you would love to do and take action with it and create any life you want in this magnificent country that we live in. There are no excuses. So, focus on the things that you want. Make sure you do your goals and why those goals are a must, and take massive action, and success is inevitable, period. Yes, you may have setbacks. You may have seminars, and that's okay. That's part of the process.
What do you do when you face those? Those people, there are a lot of people right now that are on that cusp,
Yes.
And they're on the edge of the cliff, and they're like looking over and they can see what they want, but there's like a canyon between them. They want to jump over to it, but they're like, oh, there's this cliff down here.
Like Dr. Martin Luther King said, take that first step in faith and the next step will be revealed. And that's just it. You have to take that first step. You have to take action. You've got to push through the fear and just take action. And the biggest thing is action and redirecting your focus. When I lost everything in 2008, $50 million, I thought I was set for life. I had 800 houses, multiple apartment complexes, and I was only at a 30% loan to value. I only owed 30 cents on the dollar, and I still crashed and burned. And so I had to redirect my focus to get back to what I have today. I had to recover. And I did that by reassociating with my goals, reassociating with my whys, and just taking action. And that's it. So
it's not just action. You have coined this phrase around the Holly House, and it is like massive action. We always say it around here, like decide and take massive action. Come on.
That's it. It's really that simple. And you know, there is no rocket science to this. You know, if you listen to my show enough, you discover my belief in that 80 to 90% of this is between your ears. It's your mindset. It's your psychology. It's not the technical knowledge. It's your ability to take action. And yes, you may make mistakes, and that's okay. I've made every possible mistake. There weren't boot camps for real estate when I started. Okay, maybe there were, but I never found any. And so, you know, I made every possible mistake you can make. And so, but here I am.
Yeah.
You know, I've achieved just about every goal I've ever set for myself. So, you know, you have to set the goals. You have to associate with those goals. You have to revisit them regularly. You have to recover when stuff happens, like what's happening right now. I've got some stuff happening that's not so pleasant, but it's not my focus. Like all things, this too shall pass. I may experience some pain. We all may experience some pain, but that's okay. The chances are we'll still have a roof over our head. In most cases, we'll have food on our table. And you know what I did with my wife, I said, you know, if things really get ugly, because it was, you know, my business is all events, and there are no events right now. So it was a little scary. And even my, you know, the real estate acquisition side of things is scary when people haven't got jobs. There's, I think, how many millions of people without filed for unemployment? Over 20 million last week. I mean, insane, or last month, insane. So, you know, who knows what could happen? And I went to Tiffy and I said, baby, what happens if we lose it all? What happens if, you know, we're in a 1-bedroom apartment? She said, sweetheart, if we're together, it's all good. And that's all I needed to hear, because that's my only fear, is losing her. That's truly the only fear I have. And so if that's okay, because fear paralyzes. And so it's so critical that you don't allow that to happen, that you look at worst case, become okay with worst case, and then the fear's got to be gone. Then you just take massive freaking action, period. You innovate, you pivot, there are ways to take advantage of what's happening right now, and prepare yourself for the opportunities that are coming. Get access to cash, find people that might invest with you, because there are incredible opportunities coming, period. It's going to happen. I mean, it's sad. The reason it's going to happen is sad. And I heard this phrase from Jay Abraham, a brilliant marketer, which is ethical opportunism. Yes, you maintain your integrity as you're seeking opportunity, but there are incredible opportunities coming. So.
Oh, there sure are. And that's interesting. I'm getting ready to take a ginormous leap of like just jumping in, kind of burning the boat situation. And somebody asked me, they're like, are you okay with that? And I said, what is the worst thing that could happen? And I started going through the worst thing that had happened. And I said, my heart's going to still beat. My family will be together. What else matters?
Our biggest fears in life, there are two of them. One is that we're not enough, and the other one is that we won't be loved. Okay, I got past the not enough one. That was the one that drove me for years, that I wasn't good enough. But I'm past that one. I know that I am now. And I'm a gift from God. I'm a lover. I'm a beautiful soul. And I'm not saying that with ego. I'm saying that because I've identified this about myself. But the other one, that I won't be loved, is what I approached Tiffy about, is you know, I can do anything with her. Okay, anything. And so there's nothing I can't do. And so that's my worst case. If something happened to her, if you know, I lost her because of, and of course I knew better, but I needed to hear it. And so do that for yourselves. Those of you listening, look at worst case, become okay with worst case, and then go take freaking action, period.
Massive freaking action. Amen.
Massive freaking action.
Amen. That's funny. I'm going to reach over here. On my husband's desk, he has one. It says, I am good enough. That came from time with you. I mean, he has it posted right there on his computer screen to remind himself, because it's programming your brain to believe. I have all my reminders on my phone that come up, like, you just gotta combat whatever it is and just hit it head on and say, that's not me. I'm gonna own who I am and who I was created to be, and I'm going to live it so loud and awesome.
Love it.
Oh, it's
love
so
it.
true. Oh, man.
Love it.
Well, there are a lot of people that are going to make some mistakes right now, unfortunately.
Life is about mistakes. I make mistakes every day. I've made huge mistakes. Huge. I don't want to relive some of them, but some of them are massive. I'll give you one. Here's a doozy. I had 500 houses in Denver that would be paid off right now. Okay. I sold them to buy here in Florida. And I bought the ones I bought in Florida, I lost. But if I still had those 500 houses in Denver, I would be netting over $500,000 a month right now. Net. Right. So, don't tell me about your freaking mistakes, okay? But the point is, I don't wallow in them. Pain is going to happen. Suffering is optional.
Yes. I get so tired of hearing people say, in fact, I'm coaching one of my children through this right now, this very same thing of like, man, just get over it, move on, no wallowing. Okay, your computer deleted your assignment. Okay, stop doing it. Just get to it, man.
It's so funny. I did my syntax for my live event, which is a very time consuming, every 5 minutes increments figure out so that I stay on track. And I didn't save it. Same thing. I was like, oh no, literally 4 or 5 hours worth of work for me, which is a big deal. So I had to redo it. Of course it happened much faster, but so I can resonate with your babies.
Yeah. They gotta learn. We all gotta learn some of those things.
That's it. It happens. Doesn't matter what age you are, and there's always a silver lining, and when I lost $50 million, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have met Tiffy. It was the greatest gift in my freaking life. And so I'd give it all up again. Just truth. That's truth. So, even with this happening right now, I don't care who you are. I promise you, you will learn and grow and become more as a result of what's happening. And there will be a silver lining. And you may not see it now, and it may even be almost hard to imagine, but it's there. And so I would tell you to, again, redirect your focus. Make sure you know exactly what you want, why you want it. Focus on that. Don't focus on the negative. They like I know you've heard me say that they asked Mother Teresa if she was anti-war. And she said, no, I'm pro-peace, because she knew how to redirect her focus. And so it's so important right now, more than anything else. And if you're listening to Julie or watching Julie, then you're a leader. You're a leader, and you have family watching you. You have friends watching you, and you have to step up right now. You have to show up right now. And if you're going through a tough time, you need to pivot and innovate and just do whatever the freak it takes to make it happen. Okay. And again, you may fall on your face, and that's okay. You just get up, dust yourself off, and move on. I've built 24 businesses. At least 19 of them were spectacular failures. So, and that's okay. It's all right. I've lost, I've had my credit destroyed twice. And I tell these stories in my live events because they're the truth of who I am, and they've molded me. They made me who I am, and it's not a negative thing. So the thing that you don't want is regret. You don't want regret, Julie, and you know this. And so many people end up at the end of their lives with regret. I tell the story of Bronnie Ware, the nurse in Australia that, was a hospice nurse, and she counseled hospice patients at the end of their life and asked them a question: do you have any regrets? And wrote a book about it called The 5 Regrets of Dying. And the number one regret was not living the life I could have lived, living somebody else's life, not living to my potential. We don't want that, guys. No regrets. So get your goals done. Watch my goal setting workshop if you need to, or come to my live event or my live stream if you're interested in multifamily. But get associated with what you want, why you want it, and then take massive action. And it's okay if you screw up. It's just okay. It's all right. Give yourself a permission, because everybody does.
I don't know where we got it in our minds that, and that my W-2 is a classroom teacher of little 8-year-olds, and they're so adorable. But first thing I try to teach them from the very beginning is we haven't failed. We have found a reason, a way that didn't work. We're going to find what does work. You know, we use Albert Einstein says, you know, you have not failed until you stop trying. And sometimes they'll coach each other and they'll be like, don't worry, you haven't stopped trying yet. And it's like, if we could just hold on to that. I tell the story of Dyson, the guy that created the vacuum cleaner, and he has 8,173 failures until he got it right. He went through all of his savings. Now he's worth, I don't know, $8 billion because he didn't give up. Henry Ford, how many times did he try the light bulb? You know, and so there are numerous examples of failure that lead to success. I'm an example. You know, I mean, there's numerous examples. Well, and you have to leverage out and say, hey, when have I really failed? The moment I failed is just like you're talking about. On my deathbed, did I actually live the life I was supposed to lead? Like, who was I? Was I just an imposter? Like, we're all focusing on this imposter syndrome. Like, sometimes I feel like an imposter in different things that I do.
Me too.
But really, I'm an imposter in my own life most of the time. Like, if you're not living who you are meant to be, you're actually the imposter.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, I will tell you, sometimes I'm up on stage, I'm like, what gives me the right to be up here? Or, you know, this guy I just interviewed with $2.5 billion worth of assets. I'm like, you know, what a gift to be able to interview. And sometimes I feel like, you know, do I deserve to have this blessing, this opportunity? We all go through that. And you do deserve it. Okay. You just make it happen. And we all deserve it. And we all deserve an incredible lifestyle. We all deserve everything we want. We just have to go out there and get it, not get stuck. Don't allow yourself to get stuck. And so many people are.
Yeah. I wish sometimes we could just pull the gum off of people and just be like, come on, let's get unstuck, people. Seriously, man, so many people. Yeah. That whole stuck.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Man, what do you say? How do you, let's just say you have, you know, you can see a friend, maybe somebody, you know, they're married, they're in a partnership, or, you know, they just have a really close friend and they're like, man, I can see my friend is stuck. Like,
well, the sad thing, I will tell you, the sad thing there is they have to want it. Otherwise you're pushing a rope. You know, it's like that adage that when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. And if they haven't reached, sometimes, I hate to say it, sometimes disgust. If they haven't reached disgust, they may not take action. They have to have leverage on themselves, or you have to be able to help them create leverage on themselves. Otherwise they won't take action. And so, you know, so many people have breaker switches. You know, they'll say, well, I just don't know enough to take action. And that's just a breaker switch. So they don't get disgusted with themselves, or I'm too old, or I'm too young, or I'm not, for me, it was, I'm not analytical enough, or, you know, whatever. We all have these stories we tell ourselves why we don't take action. And so if you've got someone like that in your life, the best thing you could do is to ask them questions around how happy they are, and ask them questions around, are they satisfied with where they are? But don't tell them to do anything. Don't tell them what they should do. Ask them questions to have them figure it out for themselves. And, you know, my problem is I'm very directive. And so I'm not the greatest at that technology. Tony Robbins is fantastic at it. But you ask questions, and that's a great way to lead someone to the realization that they need to take massive action, and they need to go, you know, they deserve more, and associate them with their goals and associate them with their whys. And, you know, I try to do that at my events. You
do a great job of it.
Well, thank you for that. I know I could be a lot better at it. But the point is, it's you know, people have to want more. They have to, and ideally, and disgust is a very powerful emotion. If they can get kind of unhappy or frustrated or even disgusted with where they are in life, sometimes that's all the catalyst they need. But if they're telling stories or softeners to prevent themselves from taking action, you know, they're just justifiers. So they can feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not going to happen.
No. Well, and we have this saying, one of my friends, Leonard Naismith and we were doing a podcast one day for his station, and we were talking about, I just said, change the channel. We get into this whole listening to the same radio station, and it's just playing the same songs over and over because they're being paid to play those. And it's like, just change the freaking channel, people. Like, you don't have to choose it. Choose something better.
And so many people are caught in the so-called rat race, and they're not happy with what they're doing, but they've got a level of comfort. So they're not disgusted. They use softeners, so they accept where they're a lot in life. And it's sad because they're the ones that Bronnie Ware was writing about when they're at the end of their lives. They didn't live with passion. They didn't, take life by the short hairs and grab it and live it and breathe it and own it. And it's sad, honestly. And that's why I spend so much time, in my coaching and live events and working on this mindset, because again, it doesn't matter what the vehicle is. It could be real estate. It could be entrepreneurship. It could be, digging ditches. I don't know, whatever it is, your path to financial freedom. It's your ability to take action and push through fear and actually make it happen. It doesn't matter if it's real estate or whatever it is. Yeah.
No, but I always tripping over my words here. I also think about the flip side of, like, what are you missing out on giving the world? Like, you're here, you have this purpose, and you were designed in this extraordinary way. Like, we're all like our own little people, and we have something to give to this world, like this really precious gift. And I'm like, just stop.
The two most important days of our life are the day we're born and the day we figure out why. And sometimes you don't discover your purpose until later in life. I really didn't figure mine out till I was 40. I'd been totally focused on me and recognized that my purpose in life was to give. And it's been my greatest gift in life. And so if you don't know what your purpose is and you're listening, I would encourage you to explore different things and see what you enjoy doing, because your purpose is going to be around your passion, and your passion is going to be around things that inspire you and make you happy. So you've got to go out there and try new things until you find something. And if you're thinking your vehicle is going to be real estate, by God, you better love it. And if you don't love it, you better learn to love it, because life is too freaking short not to do what you love. So find what it is you love, or associate pleasure with it enough where you can learn to love it, which you can do. You absolutely can do. But otherwise do something else, because life is too short. And I promise you, your purpose is around what you love. So, give that energy, give that, what are you going to be remembered for? How do you want to be remembered? And again, you don't need crystal clarity on this day one, but it's something you should be thinking about regularly and enhancing and building and growing and evolving into, because when someone is operating from their purpose, oh my God, it's like being like in Jerry Maguire, I think Cuba Gooding called it the Quan or the zone. It's everything is just freaking firing and you're in the zone. And that's a life. That's a life.
And there's nothing, like a person's unstoppable. I've had moments, I haven't hit a consistent run of that, but I've experienced that in little increments.
Me either.
Like, I want that. That's what I want all the time, because it feels so like the return on it is like, this is amazing. I want to continue.
Time disappears. I mean, it's I feel like sometimes I'm close with what I'm doing right now because I truly love it. But I think it's a lifelong pursuit. Self-actualization and guys, those of you listening, learners are earners. You need to be continually learning. I remember my son asking me, when I already owned over 2,000 properties, and I was going to a real estate boot camp. He was 9 years old or 8 years old. He said, "Why are you going? You could teach it." And it's because we are always learning and growing and becoming more. It's a lifelong pursuit. I put up a picture on my Facebook page of me with hundreds of lanyards from events that I've gone to. I've collected them because I didn't go to college, and I have my arms out like this, and they're hanging on my arms and around my neck. And I collect them and it's kind of fun for me to collect them because that truly is my college. That's my education, but it's continuing. It never stops. And I expect to be growing and learning until I'm gone. So, yeah.
Amen on that. My grandpa was 91 when he retired from real estate. And
wow.
And grandma said, Grandma's like, no, I don't ever want him to retire. He loves it. And, so,
And that's why he lived to 91, because he was active and moving and stuff. That's beautiful.
yeah,
Love
and
it.
giving back, teaching other people. So anyway, Rod, I am so grateful to have just share time. I know, especially right now with everything going on, I know that your time is even more pressed than usual. And so I really appreciate the time that you've taken to be on Ask Me How I Know.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. This is a lot of fun and happy to do it again. And I know that your show is going to be a huge success and be just from your passion and energy. So this is a real treat for me. It'll be real interesting to see where we're at 5 years from now and maybe look back on this. So let's make it a goal to do this, whatever period of time you want, a few years from now, and just kind of see what's changed and where we are. Should we do that?
I absolutely. And you know what? I'm looking to that. See, I'm not letting this situation, this little disruption right now. I'm just saying, oh, it's just a little bump in the road, maybe a bigger bump, but it could be, it's my jump. This is my jump into what I dream of for my life. And so for me, I'm looking at time and thinking some people are stopping time right now. And I'm like, oh man, 10 years is coming and I'm going to be ready.
If there's a time to double down, it's right now, right this freaking minute. There are going to be incredible opportunities to buy businesses, incredible opportunities to buy real estate. I mean, incredible stuff's coming. And so, you want to be positioned to capitalize on it. But, listen, this was a treat. You take care. It was great to see you. Great to see your smiling face. And we will do this again.
All right.
All right.
3 years. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Ask Me How I Know with Rod Khleif. He is extraordinary, and I am certain that you walked away with so many good gems to implement into your life just from listening to him throughout this episode. If you haven't attended one of his events, you need to sign up as soon as you can. Now, there's an event coming up, and he didn't put me up to this at all, but I just really respect and appreciate him so much. One of the most genuine people that I have come across, and I respect him so tremendously. So on May 2nd, he has another event coming up. It's a 2-day event. I believe it's May 2nd and May 3rd. I'll drop a link down below, but you want to make sure that you sign up for it. Even though it's a virtual event, you will still gain so much. In fact, it'll make your next event after that even better, because you can just focus in on what he's teaching and walking you through his mindset. He's also teaching you a lot of really important investing practices. Like, gosh, he's the best of both worlds. It's amazing. So if you go to his event, the virtual event on May 2nd and May 3rd, then you can focus in and get your mindset all dialed in. And then when we start having live events, you can go to his live event, and then you'll meet the most extraordinary people that you have ever met in your life. I cannot tell you how many people my husband and I met that we have just developed really important, rich, meaningful relationships with since attending our first Rod Khleif event. And so just trust me on this one. You want to go virtually so that you can just sink your teeth into the learning elements of it. You'll have that privacy to just really process and internalize a lot of the mindset, and you can end up setting all your goals at home. And then, the next time he has a live event, make sure you go. Again, because he's not just focused about the business part of things. The business is there, and it is super important, and he is going to totally teach that. But he's also the mindset and the relationships, and the type of people that are drawn to his events are the kind of people that you're going to want to link arms with. And so make sure, virtual in May, and then whenever the next actual physical event is, make sure that you run and sign up, okay? And maybe, I bet he's like huge. I feel like I could even say that. I bet he would put a discount code in here for a real event. I better ask him. but anyway, because he's awesome. He's not about the money. He's about helping people. And so anyhow, make sure that you sign up and go to his event. That's all I can say, is that it will help change you from the inside out and help you prepare you for becoming that person that you are trying to let out of the box. Okay? All right. Until next time, you guys go. You have one decision to make. You make one decision, and then you just make another and another and another, and those one decisions add up into the life of your dreams. So go make it happen.
I am so glad you stuck around for the after party, because Rod got back to me and he has a special promo code just for you. So make sure that you are attending the virtual event on May 2nd and 3rd, but you want to use this promo code to go to the next live event, because they are transformative on every single level. So make sure you go and register when that event goes live. The promo code will be Rod Friend. Just don't put any spaces, RODFRIEND, and make sure you go, and then make sure you find me and say hi, because I'd love to meet you face to face. All right, go make those great decisions. Thanks so much for joining me for another episode of Ask Me How I Know. My guests are the most humble successes, so be sure to show them your appreciation by rating this episode 5 stars, which sounds silly, but let's be real. Ratings, likes, and shares, they take no time at all, but make all the difference in the world, if only to boost morale. Also, since I don't spend time on the how and why they got into investing, be sure to check out the show notes to get to know more about today's guests, including other podcasts they've been on that has a more traditional format that will give other details about their investment journey. It'll also tell you things like the most influential person in their life and what they're reading right now, as well as how to connect with them. And please, subscribe and rate Ask Me How I Know so it reaches other listeners like you. Until next time, go find your freedom.